It's a critical story. Pakistan telling the United States, get out.
Well, this has been brewing for some time. As you know, those drone strikes, the CIA strikes, now it's become a cause célèbre, and the CIA has been told, get out of town.
This is I mean, our foreign policy right now, Mark McKinnon, is built on support from two governments that just aren't good actors, Afghanistan and Pakistan, and it puts us in a terrible position moving forward.
Yeah, Pakistan's a real tinderbox. But what do you see from the State Department in terms of how they're dealing with this?
Well, they are dealing very, very tentatively. They're going to, I think, end up being in there, but more covertly, and hope that somebody else doesn't get himself
arrested. Hard to get much more covert than drones.
Yeah, I know.
But I think the real,
invisible drones.
The real question here is, we're talking about doing more diplomatically.
No doubt about it.
Craigslist. Just put it on Craigslist.
Put it on Craigslist. Mike Barnacle, the situation just keeps getting worse in Afghanistan. In Pakistan, we seem to be in a meltdown. But we're dropping drones in Pakistan. We're killing innocent civilians. What response do we expect from the Pakistani government?
You know, Pakistan's a nuclear power, Joe. I mean, in the papers across the country, in the New York Times, I was just looking at it, 5 names listed in agate type, 5 Americans killed in action yesterday in Afghanistan. We've taken our eye off that ball to a large extent, as the public, not the politicians, not all of them. But it is something that we are involved in that we have to get out of. We cannot stay there, both economically, politically, morally. I mean, fewer than 1% of our people here in this country fighting that war in Afghanistan and in Iraq, and we pay very little attention to it. We've got to end it.
You know, we are still in the war, Jonathan Capehart, where there are now people that were in 2nd grade when this war started, fighting on the front lines in Afghanistan. And you've got generals that want to be there another 5, 10 years.
Yeah, which is what generals want to do. But, you know, the other thing, you have people who were 2 years old when these wars started, but a lot of those 2-year-olds are largely untouched by this war. Lots of people in this country, most people in this country, don't really know anyone who's in the military, who's serving in Iraq, Afghanistan, maybe flying missions over Libya. Secretary Gates has talked about this, about how he's concerned about the disconnect between the American people and the people who have sworn to protect and defend this country in wars and operations around the world.
Yeah, and Andrea,
I completely agree.
How much longer do we fight? As I said, 2nd graders in 2001 are now fighting and dying in Afghanistan.
I mean, that's what we have with the volunteer army. That's basically the fact that so few of us have connections, to personal connections to the people who are serving. And it does become stratified. And especially in this economy, you have more and more young people joining the military because of the economic benefits to them in a recessionary period, and because it means an education down the road and all the rest. You know, the White House is in fact having a military family event today. We're going to be doing some of it on our show at 1 o'clock, and the First Lady and Dr. Jill Biden are co-chairing this and are going to be going on the road. We have to do something to protect our military families, to take care of those who were, you know, if the government had shut down, as Bob Gates pointed out, paycheck to paycheck, they would have gotten their pay retroactively, but they can't even take that kind of a hit.
Mark, will the Republican Party step forward and start supporting restraint? It seems like they're egging Obama on. Stay longer in Afghanistan. Stay longer in Iraq. Do you think there's going to be a strain of Republicans that step forward and say, let's bring the troops home? This doesn't make sense anymore.
Well, that's what elections are about, Joe, and I think there's a very good possibility we'll see that somewhere in the Republican Party, and it'll be interesting to see what the reaction is.